Hi everyone! In today's video, I'll be discussing some common graphic designing mistakes and simple tips to keep in mind that can greatly improve your graphics. However, just as a disclaimer, take these tips with a grain of salt. I don't want you to feel constricted by them, as creativity is still the most important aspect of graphic designing. Let's start with a basic one, which is wordiness. A huge block of text is simply overwhelming to most viewers and immediately detracts from the message you want to communicate to the audience. Try to express what you want to say with visuals instead of words, and stick to what's important. It's understandable that in some cases you are unable to condense the text. However, even little changes like putting the text in bullet points, increasing the font size and spacing between the lines, and mixing it up with bold and italic text styles would generate a much more appealing product for the audience. Another major mistake is the neglect of negative space, which, to put simply, is when there's too much clutter and a lack of empty space. It's the opposite of positive space, which are all the things you want the audience to focus on, such as photos and text. Adding negative space is crucial to draw greater focus on the focal points and avoid confusing the reader's eyes on what they're supposed to be looking at. It can also help you achieve a more elegant and minimalist quality. According to research done by Wichita State University, white space can increase comprehension by up to 20%. Hence, don't be afraid to include more of it, and remember not to overlook this important element. It can be as easy as increasing the spacing between text, lines, and columns, manipulating margins, and enlarging the space around graphic objects. Number 3 is an easy fix. To increase readability, it is preferable to keep the lines a bit shorter, at around 50 to 60 characters. Next up is visual hierarchy, which refers to the organization of a piece so the audience's eyes can easily follow the elements in order of importance. It's a more complex topic, and I've linked an infographic in the description below, titled 12 Visual Hierarchy Principles Every Non-Designer Needs to Know, if you're interested. In this example, the name tag uses typography to set a hierarchy. Since the name is the most important part of the name tag, they utilized a larger font size for Jane Doe, along with variation in color and font type, so the importance of the name is easily established. Number 5 is typeface. I won't go into too much detail about it because I will have a video prepared for it, but it boils down to keeping the number of fonts to a minimum and selecting the typeface wisely. Then we have a big pet peeve of mine, which is not making the text visible. That includes selecting a yellow text color against a white background, or text over photos that are too high in contrast or too similar in color with the text, as shown here. For the latter case, there is an easy fix that I will show you on Canva. Next is the use of pixelated elements, which is usually the form of raster graphics over vectors. Vectors are crucial in graphic designing because it uses math and calculates all the points, curves, and lines rather than using colored pixels, so it will not lose its crisp quality no matter how large you upsize the graphic. Number 8 is also something that I absolutely cannot stand because of how easy it is to fix. Please align your elements properly. It looks much more put together and professional. Canva even has red guidelines that show up when you are dragging the elements to make alignment easier. Equal spacing between components is just as important as well. Next is a monster topic that warrants a video on its own, which is the use of color. Color is one of the most important elements of graphic design, and selecting which ones to use out of the 10 million colors that scientists estimate humans can perceive is no easy task. Hence, I will go more into detail about it in the next video. Last but not least, inconsistency is a common trap that I urge you not to fall into. It applies to all areas of graphic design, including color, fonts, elements, images, and spacing. It is important to find the right balance between creating something too similar or repetitive, among other works in your project, to something that does not fit the brand at all and looks odd. Remember that although it is fun to mix it up every now and then, too much inconsistency may hurt your brand recognition. I hope you found these tips helpful and that you'll keep them in mind when you design the next graphic. These little fixes may seem nitpicky, but they can definitely be game-changing if done right. A reminder that the next video will be all about color, which is an important one, so I hope to see you then. Bye!